Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's a little bit too complicated to sort out, but one thing we know is that the New York City Football Club still are in the running. There's still something to play for when they play host to Toluca in the League's Cup tomorrow night at Yankee Stadium. We're going to break down the League's Cup a little bit more thoroughly and check out some other things as well, and some interesting comments from Pascal Janssen from earlier today at training on NYCFC Views Live.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. NYCFC Views.
Collins approaches the shot, and New York City wins the first MLS Cup on their first try, and they're going crazy. Tiene tiro y gol! Gol! New York City es el campeón de Major League Soccer!
The sickest New York City FC podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Glenn Crooks. There's Roberto Abramowitz, and it's a Monday night. We're like the MLS schedule. Any night of the week, there might be a game, or there might be an NYCFC Views Live. But, we just
exactly.
So this one's the day before Toluca. So I know you're pumped for this one, Roberto, and we got a lot to talk about with this too. And New York City's alive, although they've got 6 teams in front of them right now. We'll show the standings in just a moment, but there's 6 teams in front of them. And the top 4 are Seattle, who they'll play on Decision Day, New York City, Portland, Miami, Minnesota. 6 teams have 4 points, including Minnesota at the end there. New York City's on 3 points. So there's so much happening. And really, it isn't, if you sit and try to figure out all the possibilities, forget about it. You're wasting your time.
They are. As a matter of fact, it was one of the things that I talked to Pascal about a little bit today during the press conference was, he had mentioned that maybe they're a little bit of a disadvantage playing first. I know Turco Mohamed had sort of intimated the same thing. The other coaches have said the same thing because they've got to lead off, this whole thing, right? They had the first game in the first round, in each round. And that maybe they're a little bit of a disadvantage as far as being able to think, what they need to do. At the end of the day, it comes down, they just have to win. Period. That's it, win. You don't have to worry about speculating about what, win. And one of the questions I did ask him was, how do you balance, right, going into this game, maybe needing a few goals versus just winning the game. And he had answered that it was an interesting question, that it's something that he had talked about with his staff about how they approach this game, because, there is a sense of, let's just go out and not do anything crazy, just win the game and let's see where it all falls. Or, hey, we do need goals. Maybe we'll be more aggressive. And if they do that, then, you would leave yourself exposed in the back against, a team that is just very, very good scoring goals. Yeah. They've got 10 goals already.
You set the game up to win. You're not going to beat this team 4-0. It ain't happening. And
I think Cruz Azul thought the same thing.
Well,
when they played Seattle.
I suppose. Yeah, they didn't think they were going to lose 7-0. I'm sure they did not, especially after beating them in CONCACAF Champions Cup. But if you're going to go all out on the attack, then you should start 4 Argentinians and a Costa Rican in your front 5. That would be the way. So we've got some interesting stuff from Pascal, including his thoughts on Leagues Cup. And look, we're talking about it now. So Shane, our producer, if you can, there's a Pascal cut regarding Leagues Cup, because the question really is what are your thoughts? Constructive criticism, things like that, and here's what he said.
Sure.
Well, I have to know my place as well, Glenn. This is the first time I'm in this tournament and involved with my team, so I have no reference from other tournaments played prior to this tournament. But what I do sense and what I do see from common sense, if you want to have a quality tournament and you want to have quality games, to schedule 3 games within 7 or 8 days, that is not wise. That's not a wise thing to do because the players are not machines, obviously. We are in mid-season in the MLS. So getting a week off, I would say, to play this tournament and expect quality games is something that I would strongly recommend to organize in a different way. The second one that surprised me is the penalty shootout. I would go for a draw, just get 1 point, so teams can stay really close on the table, and the goal difference makes a huge impact on going through to the next round or not. So that would be my, not criticism, that would be my advice.
I like that. So we've talked about goal difference before, but what he was intimating there, and then the follow-up was, so you think teams would be in a more attacking mode throughout the group games because of goal difference if you didn't have the opportunity to get an extra point in the penalty kick shootout? And he said yes. So those are Pascal's suggestions to the Leagues Cup committee for next year. We'll see.
They're good. They're good. Although, I don't mind the tournament the way they've set it up this time. I think that they've done a great job. I may be in the minority of all of this, but look, it's all MLS versus Liga MX all the way up until you get to the semifinals. You get to the knockout rounds, rather, and then at that point, once you get to the knockout rounds, then you set up the possibility that one league could win all the games, and then you only have either Liga MX against Liga MX or MLS versus MLS. But these games to me have been really, really entertaining. I think that we see a higher tempo. I think also that what we're seeing is, and this is something that Pascal mentioned, and maybe you've got a video on this later on about how passionate some of these games are, that it's the passion level is up versus a regular MLS game, and then you can also feel it in the stands. And the downside is just the ticket prices. They're pricing so many people out. The cheapest ticket tomorrow is like over $50. And to me, if you're having these games, right, and people don't have a hell of a lot of spending money right now. Inflation is up. I don't want to get into politics, but I mean, inflation is up. Just it's very expensive to live right now, especially here in New York City. $54 for the cheapest ticket available.
90% of Americans are stressed by their grocery prices. So
and so for $54 for a ticket, why can't you make them $25 or $20? Get a whole bunch of people in the stadium, and have a party. I mean, having said that, New York City, based on what I was told today, as of maybe a week ago, had already sold 18,000 tickets for this game. Mexican fans are famous for walking up and going to, buying a ticket at the last moment. So we will see what happens. I'm hoping it's a really good atmosphere tomorrow, that we get 25,000 people there. And it's a freaking party. The Mexican fans, the Toluca fans, are going to come and they're going to make a lot of noise. And then you have other Mexican fans that are going to come, or either going to root for Toluca or root against Toluca.
Yeah.
And obviously, New York City has a lot of Mexican fans here in the city, and they're going to be wearing their Celeste colors for sure.
The fact it's at Yankee Stadium, one thing you could tell, and my full pregame show with Pascal, we're pulling some clips here, but that'll be coming up on the broadcast tomorrow. We're on at 7:15 tomorrow, Roberto, with our pregame shows on the network, nycfc.com/radio. But you could tell he was pretty disappointed with, he gave out the kudos to the New York City supporters that were at the former Red Bull Arena, now Sports Illustrated Stadium. But you could tell it was like, wow, I hope when we get back to Yankee Stadium, it's a little bit more 50-50. So I don't know what it's going to be like, but I think it will be, right?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a good crowd. Based on what I saw, I stayed for the whole second game when Toluca played Montreal. And they were very loud. They have a good supporter section that we couldn't see from our broadcast position because it was up in the corner, like behind us to our left. So we couldn't see, you could hear them, but you couldn't see them. And then there was a good scattering of Toluca fans. In general, there was a little over 12,000 people that were at the game. So that is good. But I expect to be a larger and louder Toluca contingent than showed up last Friday.
Well, what was really exciting for New York City supporters is not only Alonso Martinez scoring early, but Agustin Ojeda. When you say get off the schneid or got off the schneid, this was a super schneid of drought for Agustin Ojeda, who said today he was the featured guest in the presser, and it took a lot of weight off his shoulders, which is what you would expect. And in the 32nd minute, that turned out to be really an important goal, game-clinching goal. And the other clinching moment was Matt Freese with the save on James Rodriguez. And I don't know if you saw the story in The Athletic. Jonathan Klinsmann, Jurgen Klinsmann's son, who is playing in Serie B in Italy, he wants a shot. He wants a shot to be the goalkeeper for the U.S. men's national team. He was quoted in this article, and so he thinks he should get a chance. You know who else thinks they should get a chance is Matt Turner, and he is back in New England, and he had a press conference today, Roberto. I've got a couple other things I want to play from Pascal, but since I mentioned Matt Turner in relation to Matt Freese, Shane, play the first cut that I sent you, if that is ready, because we just got this in. Matt Turner at a press conference today, and he kind of goes through his journey a little bit and how it always didn't go so well.
A European adventure, it didn't go like perfectly to plan, but I did learn a lot along the way. You know, being at Arsenal, when I was there with Aaron Ramsdale, he was PFA team of the season. And when I got wind that David Raya was coming in, who's a 2-time Golden Glove winner since I left, you know, I looked to make a move. I ended up in Nottingham, and had some good times, some not so good times. And they went and got Matt Sells, who ended up being a Golden Glove winner, and then got a loan to Crystal Palace. And at Crystal Palace, Dean Henderson played his first full season in 6 years. So, you know, I had some misfortunes. I had some opportunities that I didn't make the most of as well. So it just didn't go perfectly to plan. However, like I said, I started my beautiful family over there. I have zero regrets about my time in England, and I really loved it. So I would never shut the door on a return either. But it's good to be back here right now, and I need to find my form leading into the World Cup, and I think this is a really important opportunity for all of us.
So that was just a little bit earlier today. Roberto, let's listen to one more. Our buddy Frank Delapa was at the presser, and then he asked the question about why New England, I think it was. But this is sort of a follow-up and a little bit more info here from Turner. And this is, I think it's important to hear from this guy because, number one, he was our guy in Qatar, and so many things have happened since. And now he's like, I don't know where I am, but here he is.
Obviously, I was frustrated. Anytime you're a competitor and you have the opportunity to play, you want to play. But, you know, sometimes, and I had a really great conversation and multiple conversations throughout the summer with the gaffer there at the national team. And, you know, sometimes you're just in a cycle and you need somebody to help you snap out of it a little bit. And I think it took him to, you know, sort of help me take a step back and look at things from a different perspective, because I obviously wasn't playing at my best leading into that. And I think, you know, sometimes you just have to shake it up a little bit to help the player then launch forward and achieve what they know, you know, what the coach knows that the player knows that they can achieve. So for me, I know what I can achieve, and with, you know, his support was massive, and he helped me to create a new perspective, create new relationships, you know, with guys on a team that I might not have had the chance to in you know, in another sort of scenario where I was playing. And I think also just to look at things from a different side and show my leadership through a different way. And so I was grateful for the opportunity that he gave me with that sense. And now I think I can sort of see with this journey that I've been on that being in New England was the right place for me to continue to hone those skills, to create new relationships, to play games, to find my happiness in the sport. And then in turn, I can give my best to him and to the national team as well. And I think, you know, if you look back at some of my greatest national team games, Obviously, the World Cup was amazing, but some of my greatest national team games happened when I was here playing in New England. So,
All right. So there you have it, Roberto. So he talked about things there. I mean, one of the things he talked about was learning how to be a good guy on the bench. That's what he was talking about there. He learned how to be a leader from a different position other than in the starting 11. And so now he's
That's tough, though.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's got to be really tough. And I mean, look, I know that you as a coach, I'm sure that you saw how your players handled losing a position on the field, and then how they reacted and how they acted around your team, their teammates, for the rest of the game or the rest of the season or whatever it was. And so I'm sure there is a learning curve there, but I'm sure also, that somebody like you noticed that, and I'm sure the same thing went from Mauricio Pochettino.
Yeah, and and that's good coaching. That's good managing. I mean, because you have to get everybody's buy-in. And we can still go back to Greg Berhalter not bringing Zach Steffen, and it was never clearly stated as to why, but there were some assumptions that Steffen was not going to be a good soldier as the number 2. So you don't want somebody pouting around the camp. They learned. They got through to Gio Reyna apparently, but they were considering sending him home. So it's
because he literally did pout.
Yeah, he did.
And big time.
Yeah.
He was horrific as a teammate when it came to that. And I don't know if Turner. I think it's hard to say if Steffen would have or wouldn't, but they just wanted to get that out and not have it be an issue because they knew that they wanted Turner as number 1. So I guess, they decided, all right, we're going to do this because we don't even want to have that possibility of that happening.
Yeah. So
but they didn't vet that with Reyna, did they?
Well, that's how Sean Johnson got a chance to go, I would think. He went because everyone knew he was going to be a good soldier and a good leader from the sideline, and a strong voice. So it pays to be a good teammate, because along the way something might have happened and Sean's there in gold against Iran or somebody else, and that's you have to be complete in your in how you are as an athlete. So we'll see what happens with Matt Turner and Mauricio Pochettino and Matty Freeze. And I'll tell you what, I watched Roman Celentano was terrible on penalty. I know he had one save I know he had a save on who's the guy from Chicago that didn't work out well as a DP? Oh dear,
There's quite a few. The list is too long to.
The Colombian, the Colombian. He was the only one that missed, but he had it saved by Celentano. But I think that the Leagues Cup is like giving you a little snapshot sometimes of some of the keepers and how they do in these situations. And Freeze didn't go to penalties in the shootout, but he stoned James Rodriguez. All right, Pascal, you'll like this one, Roberto. Los Cuatro Fantásticos, huh? Pretty good,
job.
Right?
I was impressed, Glenn. Seriously impressed.
Well, I think the most fun moment, and no one will deny this, was when the 4 Argentinians, right? Maxi Morales, Nico Fernandez Mercado, Agustino Ojeda, and Julian Fernandez were the front 4 for that period of time after Alonso Martinez came out for the New York City Football Club. So here's Pascal on the fabulous 4.
Pascal, I've got Los Cuatro Fantásticos. And what I'm referring to, and you talked about the fun, is the 4 Argentinians on the field together. Now, Alonso Martinez came off, so obviously you need Martinez on the field the bulk of the time. However, Ojeda, Fernandez, Mercado, Morales, and Julian Fernandez on the field together. Ojeda, in his press conference, said the experience was amazing, but there was something there is a chemistry. The compatriots really seem to have fun together there.
Yeah. Well, when they're having fun, they're capable of doing quite some good things, I would say. But Alonso is he's from Costa Rica, obviously, but seeing these guys work together, you would also say he's half from Argentina as well. So having these guys on the pitch and enjoying themselves in a game like we played against León is something that we're looking forward in all the other games, obviously. But I kid you not. It's about the performance as a team, and these guys just made a perfect fit. But it doesn't give you any guarantees for the next game. So we have to work even harder to make it fit for tomorrow's game again.
I'm looking forward to you getting all 5 of those guys on at the same time. That'll be it could work, right?
It's gone through my mind quite.
I can see, right? Maxi and Julian are the attacking mids. You got the wingers, and you got Alonso up top, man. Hannes Wolf wouldn't like it, but otherwise it would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Poor Hannes Wolf with that little system, but anyway, it's fun to think about, and I'm sure at some point, I think he'll have that group out there at some point when necessary. There's going to be, and you can play Hannes Wolf at fullback if you wanted to. I mean, if you really want to keep him on the field,
you can play Maxi at the 6. He did that
at the 6. Yeah. So
that wouldn't be bad. Look at that connection, by the way. Maxi at the 6. You have then you can play Nico Fernandez Mercado at the 10. You got Julian, you've got Martinez, you've got Ojeda. You could still, have Hannes there. Look, New York City, if they need to run up the score for whatever reason, and try to do that, or get a tie, whatever you want to, or go for the win, however you want to look at it. They may have the firepower now. I mean, Fernandez Mercado has made a difference. He really has. You could just see the level, the quality. You could see just the positive thought. And what I mean by that is just ball moves forward a lot. He reminds me of Keaton, somebody who we miss on the field a lot. The ball he's got a good vision. I mean, the setup for the goal for Ojeda was a brilliant pass to Martinez. And then he just tapped it over to Ojeda, who just tapped it in. But he starts that play by taking the ball, coming around, and then finding Martinez, who then just lays it off to Ojeda. But that's what you want. You want the guy who has everything slows down in front of him, has the vision, and then can deliver the ball where he has that vision.
Well, beyond that too, and that's a pattern play. I mean, one thing Pascal referred to, I can't remember if it was the presser, my chat, or post game. I can't remember, but he talked about that it was the way they worked on it. A pattern, and there's nothing more deceptive than that little reverse ball on the ground. And look where Alonso Martinez made that run from, the weak side, the back side, just diagonally ran. I mean, it was wonderful. But the other thing about Fernandez Mercado that I talked about with Pascal today is his work rate. All right, so run that one, Shane.
And not that this needs reinforcement, but my co-commentator played a lot of games professionally at the back. And the one thing that he's really noticed from Fernandez Mercado is how hard he works. And the thing we said in commentary, Pascal, that if one of your best players, the best player, whatever, however you classify him, he's a DP. Mm-hmm. But if he's working that hard in training and in the games, man, you have no choice, right? If you're
That's what it is. That's what it is. And as well as I do, Glenn, these guys, they have the personality, they have the profile, and they also get paid a lot of money to be a DP in the MLS clubs. And I really believe, and that is our approach as a club as well, if you bring in a DP, of course, it should be a guy that stands out and makes the difference in every area. But if the work ethic is not there, it works the same in every dressing room. People will think other things about you. And when the work ethic is there and the intensity is there, and the work rate is there, that's how you gain the respect of the whole dressing room.
I love that. And I had said it to Maddie, and you know what, I may have shared this along the way, Roberto, but it always reminds me of when Phil Jackson took over the Chicago Bulls, and there's Michael Jordan, the best player on the planet, but they hadn't won anything. So he took Jordan out to lunch, and he asked the question of Michael Jordan, do you want to win championships? And of course, Jordan said, well, yeah. And Jackson kept it really simple. He goes, here's the key. You have to be the hardest working player every day in practice and in games. And then he paused for a moment, and then he said, and it can't even be close. And that's the thing. And that's what this Fernandez Mercado thing is, Roberto, is that when it's all said and done, I think we're going to look at him and say, well, yeah, he's the best player on the team. But regardless, he's a DP and he's got that responsibility. But if he's working his butt off and I'm his teammate, of course I'm going to work hard. I have no choice.
I mean, Kobe Bryant excels for that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant got up at like 5 a.m. to do his first workout before breakfast. And he talked about not only about the work ethic that made everybody else work harder, but that he was going to become a better player simply by the fact that he worked at it more. That if you start looking at the amount of minutes that he was practicing and the amount of shots that he was putting up and all these things that he was doing to work on his technique, that was going to make him better than anybody else because nobody was going to come close to outworking him. Yeah. And so I think it was Richard Jefferson who once said that he was going to try to emulate Kobe. And he started getting dressed and he went to the gym. And Kobe was walking out because he had just finished a 2-hour workout. And I think he had gotten there like at 5 a.m. that day. He said, like, yeah, I'm going to. And then Kobe had already done like a 2-hour workout. It's like,
the key there,
you can't equal it.
No, it's good
and
because
that's leadership.
You're doing it. It's leadership, but you're also doing it when no one is watching, and that's even great. And by the way, after that Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan conversation, 6 NBA titles. So I think that worked out pretty well.
It absolutely did.
All right. So one other Pascal thing. Well, let's do this first. I don't know if you know. I don't know how often you watch Matt Freese. Like we're at the games early, and we've seen Freese do this before, where he goes out, and this is 3 hours before kickoff. So he goes out to the field, and I'm going to have Shane roll this. And Shane, you can roll it now. We can talk over it. One thing he said to me in that interview from last year, Roberto, I don't know if you remember, but that he learned at Harvard, like the Harvard coach and his team, they would do visualization before every game. And look what he's doing. So he's visual, and that's what he does. I don't know what he's listening to. He said he listens to different things, but he's like seeing a ball come his way, doing the footwork, just a little visualization, and he's in that wonderful penalty box where the stage was for I don't know what concert, and completely ditched this field.
Man, that's a different. We got to get into that, but finish on Freese because it's important.
Yeah, and this is he does this before every game, and visualization is really an unbelievable. I wish more. I wish I used it more. Like when I play golf, I use it because I've interviewed a sports psychologist named Dan Abrahams who first worked with pro golfers, now works with pro soccer players. But he says you've got to see the shot before you hit it, and it makes total sense. And if you could see the ball being served and it's spinning, and you're there and you're ready to catch it, but it's not really there, you're preparing yourself mentally for that situation. I'm a big believer in visualization.
And that's great, and it's obviously served Matt Freese very, very well as you just get to see him improve every single game. And just the penalty stop that on James Rodriguez. I mean, it's James Rodriguez, and for him to, and the funny part about the penalty spot is that if you see the shot from behind the goal, you see Alonso Martinez pointing to his right, which is to Matt Freese's left. And when they asked Matt Freese about that, and he said, yeah, I saw him point. I was diving there anyway. He said, but that just made me feel even more sure that I was doing the right thing.
And he did a lot before that, too. If anyone was listening to Matty Lawrence in commentary on the English side, he was describing everything he was doing to distract Rodriguez. Like, and the way Matty described it was pretty funny. Like, he was telling the referee where to be. He was telling the assistant referee where to stand. He was just delaying it. And James Rodriguez must have seen this kind of stuff from a goalkeeper a million times. But maybe it had an impact. It works for Freese, man. He's one of the best at it, no question.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to develop a reputation about anything, I guess stopping penalty kicks is pretty damn good.
It is. And, well, how about Ramondo, man? Everybody was afraid to take a PK against him. He he to this day he's had the best success rate in MLS, and this year inducted into the National Hall of Fame, the former RSL keeper. One more for Pascal. So I don't know if you noticed, Roberto, but against Puebla on Tuesday, the 3-0 loss. It was just not. It was they got smacked. Those were the words from Pascal Janssen. He wore a short sleeve T-shirt. Now remember, on that road trip, he was wearing his suit with the long sleeves, like the track suit, long sleeves and the hoodie. And they won their last 2 games. It was a very successful road trip. And then he gets back home, and he puts a T-shirt on. They lose. Well, what happened on August the 1st? He put the tracksuit back on with the long sleeves in it. But he said, well, it was chillier. It was cooler.
Yes, it definitely was.
So that's how he said he's not superstitious. So I tried, but he wouldn't bite.
Well, and it's very, I think that's a rarity. I heard the question, and he said that he wasn't, and I was like, wow. Somebody in soccer who isn't superstitious. I mean, there are people that wear like the same shoelaces or get dressed in the exact same manner, and there's like so many different things. And then here's a guy like, yeah, I don't care. And I subscribe to Pascal's theory. I don't believe in superstitions either.
Did you hear about? Well, I'll tell you, one of the most superstitious players I ever read about was Grobbelaar, the goalkeeper for Liverpool years ago. So what he would do, Roberto, in the locker room before he would go out onto the field, he had to volley the ball into the light switch to turn the light off. Like that was so he had to do that. So he was like, I can't go on the field until that light switch is off on my volley. Well, there was one game where he was doing it. One of the assistants came in and grabbed him and said, "You got your ass out there, man. The game's going to kick off in a minute." And he tried one more time. It didn't work. He went out there. They lost the game. And I'll tell you, he was like, he said, it's because I didn't kick the light out. I didn't kick the light switch out, So.
And I agree. And you know why I agree? Because he was probably thinking about it during the game.
Yeah,
he psyched himself out.
Yeah.
He psyched himself out.
Hey, you do remember Patrick Vieira? We know is superstition. Remember, he made me wear a suit like 5 games in a row because, hey, don't take that suit off. That's back when I wore like now I wear T-shirts.
Now I wear T-shirts and shorts to the game.
I do not wear shorts.
Things have changed in
you wear shorts. I do not wear shorts to the game. You wear shorts to the game, but
every so often. Ariel wears shorts, so if he does, I can.
It's all good. What else do we want to say? So that's it. So we got the game tomorrow night. We're all excited about that. But
I want to talk about Toluca because we didn't get much of a chance to talk about Toluca. This is the team you got to talk about because they're not only good, they're fun. I mean, they are really fun. They've got a lot of players that are must watch. Paulinho especially, okay? He wears number 26. The guy has been the leading goal scorer in Mexico the last 2 seasons with 14 and 13 goals. They play 17-game seasons there. And he had 14 goals and 13 goals. So far, since he got to Toluca, he's got 33 goals in 47 games, all comps. And if that wasn't enough, what the hell what a great goal he scored against Montreal on the bicycle kick. He doesn't only score goals, Glenn. I mean, that was just freaking spectacular.
And he scored the brace in the first match for them, which has really how important was that? Because that was a draw, and now they're in the 4th position. So they obviously clinched with a victory, although I guess we have to look at goal difference. I don't want to say anything's definite because
don't say anything's definite because goal difference can blow something out of the water. They could win 1-0 and then somebody else wins 7-0 and then they're out. I mean, it can't be.
But so he's got 3 goals in 2 games in this event. So you're right. He is the guy to watch. Event. He's definitely the guy to watch. He is a goal scorer.
But he's not the only one, okay? The other guy to watch
Vega.
Is Alexis Vega, right? He's 27 years old. He basically starts for the Mexican national team during the regular season in Mexico. It just started. They've only played 3 games. He's already got 2 goals and 6 shots on target. So he's somebody else that you've got to be aware of. Helinho from Brazil. He's a 25-year-old. He also plays on the forward line. He's got a goal in 3 appearances. He's fast. He knows how to finish games. I mean, just wherever you want to go in this lineup is loaded for bear.
That dude,
Okay,
you got to
this
go
is
back
a
and watch.
really, really good team. The only place right now where you say, well, that maybe there's a little bit of a disadvantage for Toluca. So Hugo Gonzalez got hurt, and so Luis Manuel Garcia has been the starter now. So he's 32 years old, but he's been a veteran keeper for a long time. He's got 6 goals so far allowed in 5 games. They
But they've
lost one of the
shared.
games 4-3.
I don't know this for a fact. I like you and I. We've both been reading up on Toluca and watching and things like that. But they were, I think, in their last tournament, their last season, they exchanged quite often in goals. So I don't think that's a massive uh, deal, when it comes to the game. I mean, it might work out that way, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
And that Helinho, you got if you haven't watched that, everybody watch it now. Go back. You have to watch the highlights for Toluca because the goals are crazy. But this Helinho, he hit a shot that knuckled like a shot I've never seen before, knuckle, and the keeper did well with it. But anyway, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, Roberto. And one of my, how I come up with questions for Pascal in my interview. One that I did not get to was about Alexis Vega, and I was going to ask him, do you ever consider man marking a player out of the game? Because I think out of all the players, he's the most important for them. Don't you think, Roberto? Because he sets the table a lot. I know they're very mobile. Sometimes it looks like he's up front. Sometimes he's in the midfield. They have great mobility as an attacking group. But so I wanted to see, and I know what Pascal would say. He's not going to sacrifice a player on another. But Fernandez Mercado was man marked by Puebla, and that's one of the reasons Puebla, I think, stymied the New York City attack in the opening half, because Fernandez Mercado had no room.
He didn't have any room. He also didn't have with all due respect, he didn't have a lot of guys to play with. I think it makes a lot of a difference, a huge difference, if you have Martinez, in front of goal, and he's going to draw attention, and you have Maxi Morales roaming the midfield, and he's going to draw attention. And again, no disrespect to everybody else who was on the field, but without having those two guys there, it makes a difference, because you don't have to worry about, Seymour Reed isn't Alonso Martinez, and Julian Fernandez or whoever else you want to put, to replace Maxi Morales. It's just not the same. It just really, really isn't. So it makes a difference. There's a couple of questions or comments that people have.
I agree with that. I agree with that, but he was man marked out of the game.
Yeah,
that's my point. I know you're right, but I'm just saying they went about it in a way to prevent him from having any influence. Also,
right. So we have a couple of statements here that I want to address. Can you put up Quinny's statement at 7:35? And then, does Pascal take this serious? Feeling he plays Cavallo for start again. Surely Ojeda keeps playing too. I'll disagree, and I'll disagree totally. Does Pascal take this seriously? In one of the comments that he made to Glenn, it was important to talk about, and he said it, and Glenn just played it here, how there's so many games in so little time. But not only that, they were just coming off a game, and they didn't really have enough time to be able to rest everybody properly. So he had to rotate the squad. It wasn't like he didn't take the game seriously. He had no choice. He doesn't want to burn players out or get them injured by overplaying them. And if you're going to take a chance on any game, Puebla has been absolutely horrific for a year and a half. They did win their last game of the regular season in Mexico, the third game of the season, before they came here, and they beat Santos, which has been horrific, just as poorly as they. And they played Mazatlan, and they played away, and they actually played them decently. So maybe Puebla was up and coming and playing a little bit better. But if you're going to take a chance between Toluca, who's the champion, León, which is a very good team, who happens to have Jaime Rodriguez on their side, and then Puebla, who had 8 points the previous season and didn't really sign anybody of note for this season, well, you're going to take your chance against Puebla. It didn't work out. Puebla played well. and there was a mistake made by Cavallo at the beginning of the game that cost the team a goal, and it put them behind the 8 ball. It gave Puebla confidence, and it changed the game.
No, with Cavallo, that was the unfortunate part because look, you got to remember what Kevin O'Toole has been through this season. A couple of injuries, and they're soft tissue injuries, and they have all this data. And when you reach a certain level of load, you have to be very careful. Sometimes you're going to push it, but are you going to push it in the opening game of the Leagues Cup? And Roberto, you classified that beautifully. If there was any game that you were going to maybe just, give a couple of guys some minutes, Maxi Morales had to sit. Alonso Martinez, got to be careful, man. That's your guy. So so it was those two guys and Kevin O'Toole, and really that was it as far as people that you wouldn't expect to normally play. So I trust in Pascal Janssen saying, look, and he knows that he could bring those guys in the second half. You're just hoping it's 0-0 or you're down a goal at halftime and that's it. And then you bring the troops in. So, you make these plans and it kind of blew up a little bit. No question about it. It blew up. And it's going to make it very difficult to advance. So I'm with you.
But it's not impossible. I was watching last night and I'm thinking to myself, well, this is, this is going to be tough. You look at where they are. They've got 3 points. They're -1 in goal differential. And, any one of these teams can win. And what winds up happening last night? Only Seattle won in 90 minutes. Every other MLS team dropped points. And all of a sudden, you're like, well, it doesn't look that terrible. So tomorrow, we'll be scoreboard watching as well.
Shane, while Roberto's talking, can you put up the MLS standings, please? And then we can see it clearly here. Or not so
clearly.
I thought it was going to be, when they sent it to me earlier today and I approved this, I thought it was going to be bigger. Excuse me. I'm going to, my wife's in the other room and see if she can bring me a magnifying glass.
Anyway. I can't even read this. I see Seattle's on top.
Yeah, Seattle's on top. Then Portland. This is like the eye chart at the eye doctor. And he goes, can you see the last line? I cannot see any line.
That's it. We're at the 2016 version right here. So let me
That's okay.
Look at this.
Shane, you can get rid of it. Sorry about that.
So look, Cincinnati lost in penalty kicks to Juarez. Chivas beat Charlotte in penalty kicks, and our boy Richie Ledesma got a goal. I'm really happy.
Yeah.
Monterrey beat the Red Bulls in penalty kicks. Tijuana beat Colorado outright 2-1. Cruz Azul beat the Galaxy in penalty kicks. So not only did MLS teams, the ones that got the penalty kicks, they all lost. So you couldn't have asked for a better situation, except maybe if Seattle had dropped points against Santos, but they didn't. So, you can't win them all. But there's another night like that, and New York City can pull off a victory, and maybe it's more than a 1-goal victory. And, they're alive. They're alive in this thing. So, you got to go out and you got to win the game.
Yep, it's going to be wild. Well, Pascal gave his opinions about Leagues Cup and how he thought it might be able to boost, and you said it again. Just spreading out the group games a little bit more so that there's and it points right to what happened in that first game. If there was more time in between. Look, when did New York City play on was it Saturday or Sunday before I guess it was Friday before the Tuesday. So they pplayed Friday night at Dallas.
Friday before Tuesday. It's only 3
But it
days.
was in Dallas. You got to come back. So in the middle of the night, they got home at 5 a.m. And then, you're up the next day. That's a recovery day. Then Monday, boom. And then you're already playing again. So I don't know. It's a tough nut to crack for coaches in that, in that Monterrey Red Bulls game. I didn't know that, somewhere along the line, I just never heard this. I'm watching, and that's Julian Hall, and he's got the name, and I'm not even certain how to pronounce it. Zakrzewski. It's a Polish name. Zakrzeewski. It turns out it's his mother's maiden name, and he has it on the back to preserve the family name, that it's very important to him, honoring his mother's side. I really like that. Just a teenage kid, once his mom's name on his back, and I had no idea what it was all about. So I just thought I'd share that because I think
That's really cool. And by the way, did you see his goal?
and yeah, and he had a great goal to be signed. Yeah,
Oh my God. That was no run of the mill defender he beat on that goal, by the way. That was none other than Sergio Ramos, who he outran and scored.
wow, that was splitting the defense, man. That was rough to watch if you're a Monterrey supporter. And then the Ledesma goal you referred to, man, a half volley with the left, he just sizzled it into the corner. That was a hell of a goal too, man.
It was. By the way, after the game against after Chivas, after the Red Bull Chivas game, I went down to the dressing room and I got a chance to see Richie and talk with him for a while. And he's really happy there. He's happy to be back in this part of the world. He grew up in Mexico. He has Mexican family. Didn't grow up there, but he has Mexican family. And it's great. I asked him about things that are important to me, Glenn. So
His car,
he's
his
got.
car. Yeah.
Damn right I did. He's got this great Corvette that he got, I think, with bonus money for one of the I think Champions League, when they qualified to Champions League, they got bonus money, and he went and he bought this beautiful blue Corvette. And I said, so is it sitting in Arizona? He's going, He says he's got it in Guadalajara. And he says that he feels fine about it. He feels safe. He says it's a great city. He's loving it over there. So I'm really, really happy for him. And it was really interesting. And you'll like this. I was seeing the lineups for Guadalajara. As you know, Guadalajara only uses Mexican players.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And they've tweaked that a little bit in the past couple of years to try to open it up a little bit more. But anyway, they had 3 American players in the starting lineup, and Cade Cowell coming off the bench. Inter Miami only had 0 American players in their starting lineup, and only 1 American coming off the bench, which was why am I blowing his name right now? Kromoski. That was it. The only American that they had. So Guadalajara had 4 Americans versus Inter Miami 1. They didn't play each other, but I thought it was amusing because they're 2 of the most important franchises, in their respective leagues.
Let's go over some other former New York City FC players. Berk Riese, 90 minutes in the 2-0 win for Molde. That was his first game back. It was the top-tier opener in Norway. And Riese is a big loss. When you talk about that first game again and Cavallo starting at left back, if Riese was around, probably wouldn't have happened. That's one thing. And Seymour Reed starting up top instead of Alonso Martinez in that opening game, that's the failure of Monsef Bakar to be a striker who you can count on. And then he had transferred out to Dinamo Zagreb. So you're working with a lack of depth in those areas. You can't say it any other way. And it's and I think Pascal Janssen's done I personally think he's done a fabulous job, organizing this thing and getting them to a certain level.
There is help coming, at least we believe so. If you believe what we read on social media and all the reports, there seems to be help coming as far as defense is concerned. So, I don't think it's going to be in time for this tournament.
Yeah, probably not. I'm going to. I've got something here on. Yeah, there it is. I'm going to read you a couple of things about Raul Gustavo. That's who you're talking about. But other former players for New York City, Santi Rodriguez, unused sub in Botafogo's match.
He's having issues there. He's not getting on the field.
Nope.
There's been talk about him possibly wanting to leave.
Well, he's not playing. Of course he wants to leave. Nico Acevedo, he's still at Bahia, subbed on in the 85th minute, so he just played 5 minutes. Tylus Magno, still on loan to Corinthians. He was subbed off at halftime. And so just, you mentioned Ledesma. I had these other guys rung up. There might be other, forgive me if there's other former players out there that were playing this weekend. I just don't have it in front of me. And then former New York City managers, we mentioned Monterrey, Dominique Theron. They're still alive on the Liga MX side. But there are 3 teams eliminated on the MLS side, and one of them is Ronnie Dyla's Atlanta side. And he ended up losing the game to Efrain Juarez, who used to be his guy here in New York City, and also his next stop at Standard Liège, and then brought him. I think he went to Standard Liège, and then that's when Efrain was started to get out on his own as a manager.
Right, because he went to Colombia first, and then won a championship, and then had to leave because it was a zoo there, and then he winds up in Pumas. So the student surpassed the master.
Yeah, well, that's what happens sometimes, It's
but he winds up eliminating him as well.
Yeah,
I don't know if they won and they had a drink afterwards. I don't know what the hell happened there.
We we always don't want to take too much time on the podcast, because once it gets past the hour mark, it's a little out of hand. But I had a lot of Ronnie Diley. He was not pleased with the referees. I'll just put it to you this way: his first statement was, "I'm the coach that never says anything about the referees," and then for the next 6 minutes, he talked about the referees.
He decided he was going to make a deposit in the MLS Liga MX coffers.
Well, I hope they persevere with him and he sorts it out at some point here. But it's only 10 games left in the regular season, so not much time.
It's been a terrible season for Atlanta. They don't seem to have their act together at all. There's all sorts of stories going on around there. You hope that things get better because we really like Ronnie and we love Efrain too. So
yeah,
it was fun to watch them compete against each other. But it's hard to watch somebody lose that way, and it's been just a rough year for Atlanta, and they're still having issues with attendance, with people just getting turned off and not showing up for games. That's like the worst indictment that you can get.
Yeah, I always remember Toronto all those years. Got fantastic turnout, and all those years, and I'm talking before Vanny was there, and when they were kind of first born in MLS, and what a great support they had. And then finally they was like, all right, we can't do this anymore, and their attendance started to dwindle after that. It happened a little sooner in Atlanta maybe, but look, if your team's not winning and if they're not fun to watch, if both those things are occurring, not fun to watch, not winning. Whew. Let's say Columbus. If Columbus wasn't winning and they were struggling and they would got into a streak where they lost 5 out of 6 and maybe drop below the playoff line, it's not going to happen. But if they did, people would still come out because they're entertaining and always will be under Wilfred Nancy. So I think All right, Raul Gustavo at Ferencváros in Hungary, which is where Pascal Janssen was prior to his arrival at New York City FC. So just a little bit about Gustavo, because the fact of the matter is, Roberto, that over the last 2 years, he hasn't played much football. But in October of 2024, he broke his collarbone and missed 9 regular season matches, okay? And then a bunch of Champions League qualifiers. He did get back playing in mid-December. So then Pascal departs for New York City FC, December of 2024, January 2024. After that, Gustavo started 5 of 10 matches with Robbie Keane is his coach now, and an unused sub in the other 5 matches. So only played in 5 out of 10 matches. He started those matches. In the last 10 matches right now, currently, just 1 minute played with Robbie Keane. Prior to all this, he had 53 matches with Corinthians, but he had missed 12 games with a knee injury with them. He joined Bahia, and he only played in 7 of 26 matches there. I'm trying to go back. It's been a while since he's just been the guy every day that you'll see that's going to be starting at the back. So I don't know if this injury history is an issue. One thing I do know, if Pascal wants to bring him in, I trust Pascal. I mean, he's worked with him. He's a left-footed central defender, which is exactly, I think, what they need, and Hack probably goes into the midfield, or until Thiago Martins gets back, he goes to the right side of defense. So that's what I looked up about Gustavo. That's all.
And we got some good news
That's
on
transfer market, by the way. So that's all.
Yeah, and we've got some good news on Thiago Martins. He started running today. So that's probably a little bit earlier than people thought. So good on that.
Very good.
Very happy to hear. And Malachi Jones has been running. So that's really good news as well. So very happy to see that. We saw Keaton Parks for a little while, and he's well on the way to recovery, but it's going to be a long recovery, and they're going to take it slow with him. So we only wish him the best. God, we miss him on the field. He was playing so well for New York City. He was really a bright spot throughout most of the season, despite playing injured. And it might be that this blood issue that he has was complicating his foot healing. So, there's a possibility that, with blood flow running properly, that now he could heal properly. So fingers crossed. We wish him nothing but the best. Great guy and great soccer player.
The testament to Parks is that he played 14 games on that foot. That foot hurt him the entire time. And look, you get cortisone shots. You get the different things that are within the legal bounds of medicine to get yourself out there. We know Luis Suarez goes through that with his knees all the time. But here's Keaton Parks played 14, and we know he had to pull himself out of a couple of games along the way. Had to rest during practice very little because he was trying to prepare himself for the games, which is what you do.
Yeah.
It's competition, man. You're here to
You
win
don't want
the
to
game.
compound the injury and
No.
the pain. And the other good news was Hannes Wolf. And he practiced fully today and got a chance to have a little quick chat with him. And what wound up happening is that in practice, he got tangled up with Seymour Reed.
Yeah.
And that's how he got hurt. And but he's fine now. And Seymour Reed does not have a black eye. I just want you to know it's all good. They're good. It was one of those things that happens on the field.
Hannes Wolf just has to beware of the front five of Morales, Fernandez, Mercal, and Ojeda, and Martinez.
He fits perfectly with any and all of those guys. He's been really one of the bright spots this season on the team, and where New York City's going to be happy to have him back. How much he's going to play tomorrow, we don't know.
Yes, of course they're going to be happy to have him back. The guy's got 9 goals and 4 assists. Yes, they'll be happy to have him back.
Yes, Glenn.
Yes, and we expect to see him in the squad. We don't know if he'll be in the lineup, but he'll be in the squad tomorrow against Toluca. Well, this has been fun, Roberto. I wonder if there's anything else I wanted to say. Oh yeah, I want to play this because our commissioner Don Garber was out in the Hamptons. Front Office Sports. I don't know if you get their stuff every day.
Yes, I do.
So they're a great business journal for free, sports business journal. They're not the Sports Business Journal, which you have to pay for.
Which I do get.
Well, that's behind a paywall. And I've got so much money out there. I rely on Front Office Sports and Sportico. So those are my sports business guys. And so Front Office Sports had this little powwow in the Hamptons, and they shared this clip with the commissioner, Don Garber, regarding the Apple TV deal. So please run this, Shane. Oop, maybe he doesn't have this one.
Okay. Come on, Shane. I want to hear it.
Well, we'll say
Don't let me down. Oh, he says he doesn't have it.
Okay. All right, man. That's cool. I'm sure that's on my end of not sending it properly. So
blame Jersey.
Well, I'm going to paraphrase, and I'm going to be very tight with it because we'll play it next time. But he basically shot down the media for sending out the negative messages about Apple. The viewership and things like that. But I don't want to say anymore because I don't even know if I classified that properly. But I thought it was an interesting comment and basically saying we know what we're doing, so let us do what we're doing.
They seem to be very happy with how things are going.
Yeah.
So maybe they have metrics that we don't. There's a lot of information that we're not privy to. The one thing that I will say about Apple, which I adore, is the quality of the video of the broadcast are just great.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, they're just like
very.
crystal. It's like I don't have a 4K TV, but this looks. I mean, it just seems, that it's totally uncompressed, that everything just looks crystal clear. It just enhances everything.
And it's been that way from the outset. I think
Yeah,
all
that
along.
part has been great.
That's
I'm not
there's
happy,
no one's
that they're
arguing
starting
with
to put.
the quality of being able to watch a game is just incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not happy that they're, putting as many games audio wise, making, announcers out of a studio in Florida. I don't think that serves the game very well. It helps us as long as they do it in Philadelphia. When New York City has to play Philadelphia, as long as they do it there, I'm fine. That means that you and I can go and do the game from there. But otherwise, I'm not a big fan of doing games from studios or from home because it's just not the same. It just absolutely is not the same. You could just tell. I was watching one of the games last night. I was watching the Spanish version, and it was the Galaxy game. And you can tell that they were in a studio. Well, and also credit to Ramses Sandoval for saying they're in LA as opposed to here in LA. And good for
Yeah, for
him
sure. Yeah.
for doing that.
Yeah, you don't want to fake it.
And but not being able to identify who's taking a free kick until they show him,
Right.
show him holding the ball or lining up. It's very, very hard.
Or
Or
is it
what
a
the lineup
corner?
changes are.
Is it a corner? Is it a goal kick? Yeah, knowing who's
Yeah.
coming in ahead of time.
Is it a throw in? We don't know.
Who's warming up? What's happening off the ball. I mean, for the analysts, it's just not as thorough. Yeah, yeah, it's not as good a product, and never will be. I mean, but we know that. I mean, a majority of the soccer games these days are called off the monitor. I mean, all these games that we watch on all these streaming services from everywhere across the globe. I mean, obviously, we know now that most of them are done from the studio. So
Yeah, and then I mean I can go on for hours about the difference between the experience in English on Apple TV and MLS Season Pass and the experience in Spanish. And it's gotten better, but you're still not getting, apples for apples, the same thing that they're getting in English than where the people get in Spanish. There's just so much more content, so much more evergreen content that you get. The fact that you can hear hometown English radio, and yet you cannot do that for hometown Spanish radio or any Spanish radio. Yes, they have their broadcast in Spanish, and they get treated the same as English, and that's good. But it's just definitely not the same thing. And I was disappointed to find out that English radio wasn't on the last game.
or
And
the first
people told me about it.
or the first game. It turns
Oh.
out that. So this is I misled our audience by suggesting that English hometown radio was going to be on Leagues Cup. We haven't in years past. I falsely assumed, and that's all on me, that these games were. But Leagues Cup games, there will not be any English hometown commentary on the Leagues Cup matches. Once we start up with MLS again, what is it? Columbus is the first one back. Then
Yeah.
we'll be back. We'll be back in gear. So there you go.
All right. Well, either way, it's still. But there's no reason not to have it. As far as I mean, they're not adding anything.
I don't get it.
else.
I don't understand it, but that's I'm just following the rules.
No, I get it. I absolutely get it. I don't understand it either. We have a couple of questions. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, why no pregame or postgame pressers? I don't get it. I don't know. That's something that they could add. I think that adding the press conferences after the game, I think that would be good evergreen content for them for people to see the press conferences and hear what the coaches have to say and the players have to say afterwards. I'd be all for that as far as MLS Season Pass for them to broadcast that. I think that would be very, very cool.
I think the post-game pressers are excellent, and I didn't know. I'm never watching too many games where I would even know that. You know what I do? We get all the links for the post-game pressers. So, like I went on with Noonan and with Cincinnati. What was it, yesterday? I guess. So I just go on their presser. So that would be I think those are really important additions, actually. The post-game presser, because sometimes you get some really good stuff out of it. The Ronnie Dyla post-game presser would have been interesting to run for Apple. It really would.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because all the, I mean, I'm not going to say controversial. I don't want to say that, but it's interesting.
Yeah,
It's
it's
an
interesting.
interesting thing to listen to, and it makes people talk about the league, good, bad, or indifferent. They're going to talk about the league, which is what the league needs. One last thing that we've got to talk about, okay? Because this is a huge deal. And Heung-min Son is going to LAFC. That is a
It's in my notes.
huge deal.
It's in my notes.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought you were going to you were going to send us out here. So that's why. I
Well,
mean,
I've got
Spurs
Stone.
fan, it hurts.
Yeah.
As a Spurs fan, it hurts because I'd like to see him play one more year over at Tottenham. But he wanted to leave. So if he wants to leave, you know, bless his heart, he should get to be able to do whatever he wants because he is one of the great all-time players in Spurs history. And that is just, you know, that I don't think is up for discussion. Now, having said that, would I have loved him in New York? Oh my God. I would have loved him on New York City FC. And I think that the sizable Korean community in the New York metropolitan area would have been quite happy, along with just anybody who loves soccer, because he's just and he's a perfect player for this league, you know, exactly for the same reasons that we talked about Nico Fernandez Mercado. Right, that, you know, he's a leader on the field, he's a leader off the field, he's the first one to arrive, the last one to leave. He makes everybody. That's Son. That's him. He's going to make LA, you know, so good. Can you imagine? So with Son on the left side, because you're going to play Son on the left, that means that you're moving now Dennis Bouanga to the middle.
Apparently,
that is going to be fun. LAFC is going to be must watch.
No, I like Son. 33 years old, and Fernandez Mercado is 25. So there's a difference there, and I think that's somewhat significant.
Yes.
Just hoping one day MLS gets the Sons of the world when they're 29 and not 32, 33, 34, you know, and that's the next step maybe in this whole. Jordy Mihailovic, I know he's one of your favorite players. How about the Colorado Rapids trading him to Toronto for $8 million? You know, one of those cash trades that MLS now, and it's a great acquisition for Toronto, who are, you know, not going to the playoffs this year, but interesting for the Colorado Rapids, who are in the middle of the hunt. So I that was a confusing one to me, but
why?
Well, it's still confusing because I want to win. I want to win. Let's see what they do.
Yeah, but they don't, and that's the thing. They settled for mediocrity. This is a team owned by Kroenke, who also owns Arsenal, who's really well vested in Arsenal to try to make them competitive and try to win trophies in England. And he's very happy to own a team that can be mediocre in Colorado. And that's what they are. They're a mediocre team. They're a mediocre franchise. They have no ambition whatsoever. They don't spend any money. At least Montreal, who you could almost say was in the same category, at least last week they came out and they put out a statement apologizing to their fans and saying, we will do better. We're going to go out and spend money. We're going to go out and make our team better. Where does Colorado ever do that?
They haven't. That's when they sacked Robin Fraser. It was crazy because he had gotten them to a Western Conference. Well, they won the regular season West with one of the lowest payrolls in the league, which they still have. And
worst thing that ever happened to them was winning a championship.
Yeah,
really,
years ago.
Because when you do that and you do it with, you know, you get lucky, or you find lightning in a bottle, right? And you're able to win the championship without really spending a lot of money. Yeah. Right? Or they did it smartly that year, whatever you want to say. Fine. Then you think you're going to be able to do this all the time. You just can't do this all the time. It may happen every so often, but it's not going to always happen. Sometimes, I mean, there's reasons why the Liverpools in the world, the Manchester Cities in the world keep on winning trophies. Real Madrid, Barcelona, they keep on winning trophies. Bayern Munich, PSG, they keep on winning trophies. There's reasons for it. It's not just spending money, but spending money smartly. And it's every so often you're going to get a Leicester. It's going to happen.
That's why it's so
that's going to
exciting.
That's not going to be the rule.
Well, or every now and then you get a Vermont green. We're really going to close now. But I want you. Did you see this TIFO? They won the USL2 championship, and Bernie Sanders has been a big supporter. He's really come out. He went out to a game. He's been. Shane, do you have that? I know I sent this. The TIFO with Bernie. Oh, don't have this one either.
Shane.
Don't have that one either? Maybe I can send it real quick because this was what. Well, it said
Bernie Bayou
instead of the Bernabeu, and it was classic. And it had Bernie's face, and I guess it's another one I'll have to show next time.
And by the way, they oversold that game. You know how on like Leagues Cup we're looking at these games and they have all these empty seats and all that, and it just looks terrible, right? Which is another reason why I want prices to be lower. Because you want the games to look good. You want them to look good on TV, right? And the crowds have been loud, and the people that have been there have been having fun. But that place was jumping. That place, it was standing room only. And it was great. And then the TIFO was fantastic.
It was. I'm still seeing if I can. No, I think I know I said that one. I put that one on one of the WeTransfer. That's okay. That's all right.
All right, it happens.
Shane's our man. And and the thing there was 2,500 is what it holds, and then whatever you said they oversold it. So it was nuts. Another thing worthwhile going on social media to check out how that supporter group treats it. It's a community event. It's a community event, man. It's pretty cool.
And wherever there is, a soccer team in a smaller community, go support it. Go have fun. Go support it. The more of you go, the more fun it's going to be.
I'm trying to get my daughter to go to more New Mexico United games. She lives in Albuquerque. She's been to one this year. I want her to go to more, but
okay.
I told her get season tickets, man. But you know who's going to pay for them, right?
Yes, I do. It ain't me.
Hi, Roberto. 7:15. You can tune in to us tomorrow. Me on the English, Roberto on the Spanish Eastern Time. NYCFC.com/radio with our pregame show.
You have Pascal Janssen as always, and I've got Agustino Ojeda, and we're going to talk about his goal. And we didn't get into the full details about the drought, but we did mention it was June of last year. I told him I'd let him go on the rest of it, but I'll just give you a quick spoiler. He did say that he was absolutely feeling the pressure, but he also talked to me about how he tried to deal with that pressure.
Oh, good.
So if you speak Spanish, tune in.
Well, give me a transcript of the translation, and I'll read it on my broadcast. So there you go.
Well, we'll have to do that. I'll
Listen,
have to
AI.
My new good friend ChatGPT.
No, do otter.ie. AI.
Oh, that's another one that's very good.
Otter.ai. If you put it in, you'll see it in it's unbelievable. I can't believe how quick it is. But anyway, and Maddie and I will be on at 6:45 with our NYCFC pregame live stream. I know many of you tune into that, and we'll be giving our thoughts about the lineup as it's released. And I think that I'm sure we're going to see Max Morales and Nico Fernandez-Mercado in the lineup together again, and with Alonso Martinez. Pascal made
I expect
a massive mention of that today in our pregame chat. Is that having those three on? It was the first time they've ever played together. Was the other night. So there you go.
I expect both teams to have their best squads available and on the field.
All right, let's make it a fun night. For Roberto, I'm Glenn. Thanks, Shane. And this has been NYCFC Views Live.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast NYCFC Views on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.